A hidden legacy unfolds. In the glittering world of Bollywood, where careers rise and fall in the blink of an eye, very few stars manage to leave behind a mark that lasts for decades. And yet, for those who watched Hindi cinema in the 1980s and early 1990s, one name stands tall: Meenakshi Seshadri. She was more than just a pretty face on the silver screen. She was a trained dancer, a natural performer, and a woman who brought power and dignity to every role she played. From the romantic innocence of Hero to the searing strength of Damini, she became the actress who could hold her ground against the biggest male superstars of her time. But just when her career seemed unstoppable, Meenakshi did something no one expected. She walked away. At the peak of her fame, when producers lined up outside her door, she turned her back on Bollywood and chose an entirely different life. It wasn't scandal, failure, or controversy that drove her away. It was love. It was family. It was the quiet, personal dream of raising children far away from the glare of cameras. Today, in the calm suburbs of Plano, Texas, Meenakshi is no longer just the star fans once worshipped. She is a mother, a mentor, and the guiding force in the lives of her two children, a daughter, Kendra, and a son, Josh. Their stories remain hidden from the public eye, known only to those who have seen them grow in a world very different from Bollywood. But who are they really? What kind of life have they built as the children of a superstar who traded red carpets for PTA meetings and film sets for community dance recitals? This is the untold story of Meenakshi Seshadri's two children, a story of culture, identity, and the extraordinary legacy of a woman who chose family over fame. The making of a star who walked away. To understand the lives of her children, you first have to understand the woman behind them. A woman who went from small-town girl to national icon, and then to suburban mom in Texas. Meenakshi Seshadri was born Shashikala Seshadri on November 16, 1963, in Sindri, Jharkhand, to a Tamil Iyengar family. Her parents were devoted, traditional, and placed a high value on discipline and education. But even as a child, it was clear Meenakshi had something more, an inner spark. From the age of 7, she was immersed in the rigorous world of Indian classical dance. Not one form, but many: Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Kuchipudi, and Odissi. Few performers ever master even one of these demanding traditions, but Meenakshi mastered all of them. Dance taught her more than rhythm. It taught her discipline, presence, and the ability to tell stories without words. By the time she was a teenager, her dedication was so remarkable that her family and teachers encouraged her to compete in pageants. At just 17, she entered the Miss India contest of 1981 and won. The youngest winner of the crown at that time, her victory made headlines across India. For most young women, that would be a peak. For Meenakshi, it was just the beginning. Her first film, Painter Babu, in 1983, went largely unnoticed, but fate had bigger plans. That same year, Subhash Ghai cast her in Hero, opposite Jackie Shroff. The film was a sensation. Suddenly, posters of Meenakshi were plastered across every city. She wasn't just the new girl, she was a star. What made her different from other actresses of her time was the balance of beauty and strength she projected. She could be the vulnerable romantic heroine one moment, and a commanding presence the next. Directors loved her versatility, co-stars admired her work ethic, audiences adored her. Through the 1980s and early 1990s, Meenakshi worked alongside the biggest names in Bollywood, with Amitabh Bachchan in Shahinshah, Anil Kapoor in Mary Jung, Sunny Deol in Gayal, and Rishi Kapoor in Gar Ho To Aisa. She had the rare ability to shine, even when paired with towering male stars, never reduced to just a background figure. But it was 1993's Damini that immortalized her. Playing a woman who seeks justice for a brutal crime, Meenakshi's performance was raw, courageous, and ahead of its time. The film became a landmark in Indian cinema, with her role still hailed as one of Bollywood's greatest portrayals of female strength. By then, she had reached the pinnacle. Every major director wanted her. Every fan adored her. And yet, something inside her was shifting. Unlike many in the film industry who craved longevity and permanence in the spotlight, Meenakshi longed for a quieter, more grounded life. She wanted family, children, and a world where she wasn't always on stage. For her, stardom was never the final destination, it was just one chapter. In 1995, at the height of her fame, she stunned the nation. She married Harish Mysore, an investment banker from the United States. And just like that, she stepped away from Bollywood. No farewell tour, no drawn-out goodbyes. One moment she was everywhere, and the next she was gone. Fans were shocked. Why would an actress with such a powerful career simply disappear? But for Meenakshi, the choice was simple. She had lived the life of a star. Now she wanted to live the life of a wife and mother. The couple moved to Plano, Texas, a quiet suburban city far from Mumbai's chaos. And in the years that followed, Meenakshi embraced a new role, not as an actress on screen, but as a mother raising 2 children in America. Her decision would give them something most Bollywood star kids never experience: a life of normalcy. But who are these children who grew up in the shadow of such an extraordinary woman? What paths did they choose when given the chance to escape Bollywood's expectations? The answers lie in the stories of Kendra and Josh Mysore. A life recentered in America. The Mysore family settled in Plano, Texas, a world far removed from the chaos of film sets and celebrity culture. There, Meenakshi embraced the quiet suburban lifestyle. Instead of late-night shoots, she spent her evenings at family dinners, PTA meetings, and dance rehearsals with her children. She founded the cherished dance school, where she taught classical Indian dance to hundreds of children in her community. Through this school, she brought Bharatanatyam and Kathak to a new generation of Indian American kids, keeping culture alive in the diaspora. Her own children, a daughter and a son, grew up immersed in this world. They weren't treated as star kids. In fact, their mother's Bollywood past was something most of their American classmates barely knew. For Kendra and Josh Mysore, life wasn't about the flashbulbs of India. It was about navigating a balance between American freedom and Indian tradition. But who exactly are they? And where are they now? Kendra Mysore, the daughter of Grace. Meenakshi's first child, Kendra Mysore, was born in the United States in the late 1990s. For many, being the daughter of a former Bollywood superstar might come with pressure, expectation, or even resentment. But Kendra's story was one of quiet balance. From the start, she was her mother's reflection in many ways. Growing up surrounded by dance, she quickly picked up Bharatanatyam, often performing alongside her mother's students during cultural showcases. Those who attended recall that she carried the same grace Meenakshi once displayed on screen, every step controlled, every expression telling a story. But Kendra's life was not only about dance. Raised in Plano, she was also deeply shaped by American education and culture. While her mother brought heritage into the home, her father emphasized academics and professional ambition. That combination molded Kendra into a grounded, high-achieving young woman. As she grew older, questions naturally arose. Would she follow her mother's footsteps into Bollywood? The answer was no. Unlike many star kids in India, Kendra chose a private life away from the cameras. She pursued her studies diligently, excelling in school and reportedly working toward a career outside entertainment. And yet, her bond with her mother remained strong. Public glimpses of Kendra are rare, but in family interviews and photographs, she is often described as poised, intelligent, and deeply proud of her Indian roots. Friends in the community say she embodies the best of both worlds: American opportunity and Indian cultural pride. Still, one can't help but wonder, did she ever feel the invisible weight of being Meenakshi's daughter? Did she ever hear the whispers, "You could be a star too"? Josh Mysore, the son of strength. If Kendra inherited her mother's elegance and grace, Josh Mysore, the younger of Meenakshi's 2 children, embodied something else entirely: quiet resilience and inner strength. Born in the United States after his parents had already settled in Plano, Texas, Josh grew up in a household steeped in tradition but surrounded by the freedoms of American life. Unlike Kendra, who leaned into classical dance and community performances, Josh charted a path more rooted in academics and athletics. From a young age, Josh showed signs of curiosity and discipline. While his sister practiced mudras in front of mirrors, Josh often had his head buried in books or was outside on the field, channeling his energy into sports. He wasn't a performer in the traditional sense, but his determination and focus were just as strong as any of his mother's students at cherished dance school. Life as the son of a Bollywood superstar could have brought with it enormous pressure. Even though he was raised in America, the Indian community around him often carried expectations. Will he act? Will he go to India someday? Will he follow in his mother's footsteps? These questions swirled quietly, though never directly at him. But unlike many star kids in Mumbai, Josh had the gift of distance. He could step into a classroom or onto a sports field without his peers constantly comparing him to his mother's stardom. And yet, even with that distance, the influence of his mother was undeniable. While he may not have pursued classical dance, he absorbed the values that come from it: discipline, patience, and respect for tradition. His mother's philosophy was simple. She didn't demand her children continue her career, but she instilled in them a foundation strong enough that whatever they chose to pursue, they would do it with integrity. Josh also grew up deeply connected to his father's world. While Meenakshi taught dance, Harish Mysore provided an example of financial discipline, academic focus, and professional ambition. Between the two parents, Josh learned balance: art from one side, structure from the other. As he grew older, he began to carve out his own identity. Unlike Kendra, who found herself balancing between cultural expectations, Josh leaned more comfortably into the American side of his upbringing. He enjoyed sports, technology, and academics, blending seamlessly into the environment of Texas high schools. Still, at community events and temple gatherings, he was present, respectful, rooted, and aware of his heritage. Friends of the family describe him as thoughtful, reserved, and intelligent, someone who listens more than he speaks, but whose words carry weight when he does. In this way, he resembles his mother not in performance, but in presence. Just as Meenakshi once commanded a room with her eyes on screen, Josh is said to command respect with his quiet confidence in real life. Today, though his life remains private and away from public records, he is believed to be pursuing higher education, with ambitions in fields like business, technology, or finance, areas influenced by his father's career. He has shown no desire to enter Bollywood, no ambition to trade anonymity for limelight, and perhaps that is what makes his journey so remarkable: the ability to grow into adulthood free of the heavy shadow of fame that often consumes the children of Indian stars. While his mother's films play on television sets in India, sparking nostalgia for millions, Josh lives a world away, focused on building a future defined by his own effort. In a sense, he is the proof that Meenakshi's decision to leave Bollywood worked. It allowed her children to grow up normal, unpressured, and free. And though Josh's story is less public, it is no less powerful. For in his quiet pursuit of knowledge and independence, he represents the other side of Meenakshi's legacy: strength without spectacle. But what happens when we step back and look at the bigger picture? What do Kendra and Josh together tell us about their mother's true legacy? Growing up in two worlds. For both Kendra and Josh, life was a delicate dance between two cultures. On one hand, they were American kids, going to school in Texas, attending proms, playing sports, and living suburban lives. On the other, they were the children of Indian immigrants, expected to respect traditions, attend cultural festivals, and honor their heritage. Their mother's dance school became a bridge. Every recital, every cultural showcase reminded them, and their peers, that they were part of something larger than themselves. While their American classmates saw them as typical teens, within the Indian community, they were symbols of continuity, carrying forward a legacy of culture their mother had worked so hard to preserve. It wasn't always easy. Navigating identity as Indian Americans often brings questions of belonging. Am I more American or more Indian? For Kendra and Josh, the answer was both. They grew up free to chase their dreams in the U.S., while still carrying with them the richness of Indian tradition at home. A legacy beyond Bollywood. Looking at the lives of Kendra and Josh Mysore, it becomes clear that their story isn't one of glamour or spectacle. Instead, it's a story of quiet choices, hidden sacrifices, and the resilience of living in two worlds at once. While many children of Bollywood stars grow up in the blinding spotlight, every move scrutinized, every decision debated, Kendra and Josh were given something different: privacy. Their mother, once one of the most photographed women in India, deliberately shielded them from the chaos of fame. By leaving Bollywood at her peak, she gave her children the chance to grow up away from the tabloids, to discover themselves without comparison to a legacy they never chose. In many ways, their story is an inversion of the Bollywood dream. While others chased stardom for their children, Meenakshi chose obscurity. While others raised their kids on film sets, She raised hers in classrooms and community centers. While other celebrity kids live under relentless pressure to carry the torch, Kendra and Josh live as free individuals, charting their own paths. And yet, the influence of their mother's journey lingers in every step they take. Kendra's grace, intellect, and ability to balance Indian tradition with American modernity is a reflection of her mother's own balancing act between art and family. Josh's discipline, humility, and quiet determination reflect the strength Meenakshi once brought to every role she played. This is where the story becomes bigger than just one family. It speaks to a universal truth, that legacy is not always about fame or fortune. Sometimes legacy is about the values we pass on, the traditions we uphold, and the lives we shape in silence, far from the public eye. For Bollywood fans, Meenakshi Seshadri will always be the star of Damini, the fearless woman who fought for justice on screen. But for Kendra and Josh, she will always be Mom, the woman who cooked their meals, helped with their homework, and showed them that strength doesn't come from fame, but from the choices you make when no one is watching. As the years pass, questions will continue to swirl. Will Kendra ever step into the world of art and culture publicly? Will Josh carve a name for himself in business or technology? Will either of them return to India to claim the Bollywood legacy their mother left behind? The truth is, they don't have to. Their story is powerful precisely because it rejects expectation. It reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary lives are the ones lived away from the spotlight. And perhaps that is the greatest untold story of all, that Meenakshi Seshadri, by stepping away from Bollywood, didn't just protect her children, she gave them the freedom to live fully, authentically, and on their own terms. So the next time you see her films playing on television, or hear her name whispered with nostalgia, remember this. Her greatest role was not Damini, not Radha, not the dozens of heroines she brought to life on screen. Her greatest role has always been the one she plays off-screen, the role of a mother who chose family over fame. Because when the lights dim and the cameras fade, what remains are not the films, but the children who carry forward the lessons of love, discipline, and quiet strength. And that is the untold story of Meenakshi Seshadri's two children. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden legacy of Meenakshi's family, stay tuned for more untold stories of the children of legendary stars. Which celebrity family should we explore next? Drop your suggestions in the comments. Your idea might just become our next story.